Yeah, this is a comedian, entrepreneur, partner, or co-owner of R&B radio station 108 Soul, which is out in New York, and it's a blessing because you just made that transition of ownership. So welcome, Amy Roberts.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Amy Roberts, man. Businessman, comedian, now an entrepreneur. I'm sure you've always had that entrepreneur mindset. You know, you were just making some transitions into getting everything established. So welcome to Entrepreneurs on Deck.
Okay.
What's in your pitch deck?
What's in your pitch deck, baby?
That's the ultimate goal. What's in your pitch deck? So welcome, man. Thanks for being here, brother.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So I want to give a little backdrop of you, the person, the comedian, and now entrepreneur. And I know you just made that transition. Just quickly, just give us an idea of who the man is.
Well, all right. Well, I graduated with an accounting degree, Hampton University. I went into accounting, was doing accounting for like 10, 15 years. Highest level was a controller at one time. And then I started doing comedy full time because I'm also a comedian. Started making some pretty decent money in comedy, but with comedy, there's no benefits. There's no, you don't have any health insurance or anything like that. So you're just basically on your own. So I got back into radio. Well, I got into radio, I should say, because my brand manager at the time told me she wasn't going to be able to manage me full time. She was starting at a new R&B station at the time, 103.9. So I told her her last job was to get me an interview with 103.9. So I went in there humbled, said, hey, I want to work for the street team. And it was like, you're overqualified for the street team. Let's see if we could put you on the sales team. Met with the guy who runs the sales team, who was running the sales team at the time. I told him I didn't have any sales experience. And he said, you're a comedian. You've been selling all your life. So right. I said, yeah, you're right. I just didn't think about it that way. So I learned the business of radio. I think, Wes, that's where you and I crossed paths when I was an account executive over at Radio 103.9 for Cumulus with the Ray DeJean show. You came on, you were advertising with him. And then from account executive, I moved to sales manager of Radio 103.9. I held that position for 2 years. And then they said they were going to sell the station. So once they said they were going to sell the station, we tried to figure out, well, how much you selling it for? Because I know this business now. How much are you selling it for? And so they said, all right, they came up with a number which was ridiculously too high. It was in double digits of the millions.
You have a number. You can't share?
I can't share that. It's confident. I had to sound, double digits of millions. Just put it that. It was double digits and millions. So I said, no way in the world. I know what this station bills. It's going to take us 2 or 3 years just to get that back. And so we wouldn't even entertain that. We went back with a counter. And they debted us all together. So fast forward, I started working with SBS, Spanish Broadcasting Systems, which owns La Mega and Amor here in New York City, the biggest Hispanic outreach you can think of. That's the best way to reach the Hispanic community is through SBS. And it was a whole different world because I went from being on a station with no ratings to being on a station with all the ratings. So all in the background, we're still talking about this R&B station, 103.9. How can we buy it? How can we buy it? How can we purchase it? And then me and the owners, me and the partners who were trying to buy it decided to, hey, man, let's build our own. You know the blueprint. You know how to do it. You know the billing. You have all the relationships with the personalities, the DJs, the businesses. Let's put it together, put it on paper, put a business plan together, and see how we can push it. So we said, all right, cool. And I think, Wes, we were talking on the entrepreneurship about me getting the funding for the business, how to go about doing that, cleaning up your credit, making sure you have that so you can PG things. So I took all that wisdom, all that knowledge, and then applied it to what we have now, which is Square Media Communications, which is part owner of 108 Soul. And we launched in May. It was a soft launch in April. We just put it on the dial. Well, it's not on the dial. It's a digital station. We put it up. 24-hour station now. On-air personalities running from 10 to 10. Weekends are crazy with mixed DJs, with on-air DJs. It's running, man. I mean, like, it's taken off since we launched May 7th, 2020. We have over 200,000 listeners right now.
Man,
first of all,
wow.
congratulations on,
Yeah,
on
seriously.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations on that, brother. Absolutely. You
Thank
opened
you.
up and started during the middle of a pandemic.
Yes, they
That's
thought we were crazy.
dude, that's insane. And
They
you
thought we were crazy.
look at how the universe just works. You know, things were not going the way you expected at your previous employer, and now you open up your own during the pandemic. So that's just
Right.
the way it works. So that's
I
awesome.
mean,
Congratulations.
a lot of these things has to do with, where you want to go with things, but also, fear has to be a big factor here. You're getting ready to cross, territory that you never crossed before, newfound water. So how did you, get that courage? I know you have some partners, maybe, they've been in the business of them, being entrepreneurs and having some insights, but collectively together, how did you guys come together to have that courage and say, we're going to do this on our own?
Well, it comes down to planning. You got to have the proper plan in place. No one plans to fail; they just fail to plan. So if you have a plan in place,
just so you know, this is being recorded for quality insurance or whatever is recorded on here. Copyright? No, I'm joking.
Real talk, I hear you. But you got to have a plan in place. And we were talking about this back in October, November of 2019. So it was already in the mix. It was just how do we make sure that we can do it without having to start it, then stop it, without having to pull the plug if it's not working. So that all goes back to funding. That all goes back to building a team that you can trust, that you put people in places where they excel at. You can't put me in a bakery because I don't know how to bake. I know how to sell, so put me in that position to sell. I know how to form a team because I've been in a position of leadership already, of how to get a team in order and how to work their magic, how to get them to work their magic in their specific fields. So we brought in a Mike Shannon who has on-air personality, who has been on New York radio for years. He's been on since Kiss FM. He started out in Boston. He has all the relationships with the artists. We brought in a Mel Star who is a touring DJ with Houdini, who knows all the old school hip hop acts. We brought in a Kid New who has a close relationships with all the old school hip hop acts as well as the current R&B acts. And we brought in a Utopia who is a different sound. She was on PLJ 95.5 PLJ, which is a pop station, but she's a black girl living in the black world. And I think I know our audience are black women, so they want to be catered to. They want to hear someone that sounds like them talking to them. And it's a great connection. Now we built that team and we've seen success. We've had to make some tweaks along the way, but that's part of business. You just don't run a business and say, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick to the rules. You listen to what your consumers are saying, what the market is dictating, and you pivot, as they say. You make that move. Pivot. You got to be able to do it, brother. You got to be able to adjust. And as a comedian, you ask me, about the risk. I take a risk every night going on stage. These jokes may work. These jokes may not.
It's true. Sometimes you have those tough crowds, man.
Yeah, and you learn by that. You learn by your mistakes. You just like riding a bike. You didn't get it the first time. You scuffed your knee a couple times. You broke up, your shins. You scratched your shins up, but you were able to figure it out, get back on it, and keep going.
Not second nature.
Yeah, but now you have. But in this pandemic, has really taught us that, working remotely is a different animal, right? But it's also allowed us to save on overhead because we don't have to pay for a studio now. Right. We were going to sign a lease for a studio April, and the pandemic hit February. That's when it really started building up, and then March is like everything shut down.
Right.
And so we was like, all right, if we get a studio, who's coming to the studio? Nobody. You know what I mean? Exactly. So let's say the $3,500 a month. That
was a blessing in disguise.
Right. Exactly. So that with that amount of money, we were able to employ some other DJs. And get the weekends to where we need it to be now. Because what we've learned is that the weekend listenership, especially here in New York, people like to turn on the radio, they set it and forget it, because they're cleaning their house, maybe they're doing yard work, maybe, they're driving, long car rides, whatever they're doing. They turn on the radio just to escape. They may have the radio on and the television on, but the radio's on. You know what I mean? So
Right. I do
we
it.
have to have that
I definitely
engagement
do it.
on the weekends. You know, we have to have that, and we have to give them something that they're not getting on the other stations, which is good music, less commercials, less talk, and it's a party feel. You know what I mean? So you turn on the radio any weekend on 108 Soul, and you're not going to turn it off because it's the music that you like to hear. It's the music that, you know, some things you may hear that your mom listened to, but it's also mixed with stuff that you're comfortable listening to. You know?
How long have you been doing radio?
I started in 2014. So
Okay.
September 2014, I
Okay. So
started
about
in
6
radio.
years now.
Yep, about
Nice.
6 years, man, and it's been a hell of a ride. I've seen, and the thing about radio is that it changes every day. You know, I've
Right.
seen people come, I see people go, I see people come back. You know, and
Yeah.
that was just that one job. And you have to understand the world of radio is very small because people bounce from company to company. So they may work for Intercom, they may work for iHeart, they may work for Emis, and they may work for Cumulus, they may work, but everyone knows each other, especially in the New York market. So your name has to be good. You know,
Right.
your reputation has to be good. Your reputation is everything.
Right.
And as a businessman, you know, that comes down to you have to be able to walk in a room and be respected or earn the respect of those, your peers in the room, and have a plan of what you're doing. What do you plan on doing? What are you accomplishing? What have you accomplished? What's your vision?
Right.
You know, all of that has to come into play. When you call yourself an entrepreneur, they say, all right, so what's your 5-year plan? Hey, man, I'm looking at 5 days. I got to eat in 5 hours.
Yeah.
When you
Right.
talking about
Exactly.
5 years, that's great.
Right.
But what about
5
these next
hours.
5 hours? You know what I
Right.
mean?
So let me ask you. You have many partners. Do you have what kind of relationship have you built with these people before you made them partners? Because you know when you have partners, you know you have to have some form of harmonious situation
Vision.
going on with you guys.
Right. The vision has to be one.
The vision has to be one because you can have somebody that has an idea and is not receptive by another partner, and next thing you know, you guys are not gelling. So how do you guys continue to gel, and what is the background of your partners as well?
Well, the other owners, they're also in radio, so they come from a radio background, so they get it. They saw the need in the market for it, just like I did, and then we said, you know, how do we capitalize off of this need? Because what you do, you try to find what's needed in an environment that is underserved. You know, so we have another radio station here in New York City. I'm not going to name names. R&B stations, a heritage station. But everyone can't afford to advertise on that station.
Right.
But they still need to be heard. They still need advertising some way, somehow. And that station is somewhat not overpriced, but it's out of their price range, you know? So how do we market those who need services, who need to get their services out, who need exposure with events? How do we get to their level? So first we have to build it. You know,
Right.
You build it, they will come. We've been building, and they are coming because now they're starting to hear it. And go back to the partnership. I'm sorry about butting heads and trying to figure out who can work with who. You have to understand that you're going to actually butt heads, but you have to come to a common ground. What is the main thing that we're trying to accomplish here? What are we trying to get? It's not about my ego. It's not about your ego. What is the best situation for the company?
Right.
And once you have that understanding, then it doesn't make a difference who came up with the idea.
Right.
As long as it gets done. You know, we have to execute it. You know?
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, trust me. When you have multiple partners, we know it. We've been there. We've let go of some partners, and you know it's tough. You know, let me ask you this: you're a comedian, you're a business owner, and I'm sure you do many other things.
I'm also a father and a husband
and a father. Look at that. That right there is that's a whole other business right there. So.
Right.
So us as entrepreneurs, Wes and I like to refer to ourselves as serial entrepreneurs. We have multiple things going on, and we know that's a challenge. How do you juggle both the comedy and owning a radio station? How do you really balance that?
Well, since this pandemic has hit, the comedy has kind of slowed down. We're not going out performing on a nightly basis. We're doing it like this. Via Zoom,
right? Okay.
We're doing shows online, so it's a blessing and a curse because you know, by doing a show like this, you're not going to get paid as much as you would in person.
Right.
But it's also allowed me to concentrate more on building the brand, the 108 Soul brand.
Gotcha.
The brand of comedy, Jamie Roberts. I've been doing comedy over almost 20 years now. So, you know, the brand is there, you know, it's not going anywhere. People know me as comedy. They know you want comedy, you want a host, call Jamie Roberts. If my name's not mentioned within 5 other comedians in New York City for a host, and I'm offended. That means I'm not doing my job.
There you go.
You know, I'm not selling myself enough. But that part of it is secure. The radio station is what we really need to push.
Gotcha.
And the other thing you have to understand, where are you putting your eggs at, right? If I'm putting all my eggs in comedy, right? What is my end goal in comedy? What is it, just to be the best stand-up comedian? What is it, to be the best host in New York City? No, it's television. It's, you know, radio, of course, because there's other platforms in order to push my political opinions or whatever opinions that I have onto the masses of people. So it's television, it's radio, it's movies, it's wherever else I could push, whatever platform I can be on.
I was about to ask you that. I was about to ask you that because you do have a platform. So you have a radio station. I don't know if it's just all music or do you even have personalities on there? Because if you have a platform which you can use as a comedian and you have people that's looking for you on a consistent basis, whether it's daily or weekly, knowing that they can find you on there, are you using your platform to showcase your talent even more?
Not per se. No, not myself.
Why not?
Because that's radio and comedy go hand in hand. But to build this, what we're doing right now, it has to be professionally done. And I'm not a professional radio personality. You got to pick your lanes. You got to know your spots. The worst thing to do is to have someone turn it on and it's not complete. The program isn't sounding good. So if I tell you, Wes, you know, go turn on 108 Soul and you hear dead air or you hear commercials that aren't clear or, you know, the songs aren't right, it's cursing. You're like, oh man, this isn't a radio station. You know what I mean? This is not what I expected. You probably won't tune back in. So in order for us to get the listenership and to build the listenership, we got to put the people in place who know what they're doing, you know, who have the shows, who have the expertise of building a program, of understanding how a program or how a show runs. And then I could be the add-on. You know, I could come in like my wife. She has a show every Saturday morning, 9 to 12. It's called Wake Up with Sunshine, Nikki Sunshine, and she knows what she's doing. That's what she does. You know what I mean? So I come in every now and then, but for Jamie Roberts to have his own show, no, not yet. That's not what I do. You know, it's a great platform, you know, and I'm able to advertise my shows if I need to. But right now, it's all about building the brand, and the brand is 108 Soul. It's not Jamie Roberts. You know, it would be selfish of me to try to put myself into that arena. And quite honestly, it's a lot of work. You know, it's a lot of work to build the show and to do all that.
I'm just looking at it the standpoint of, you know, you have a voice and you know, you are one of the owners, and what better person to be the ambassador of that platform, you know, having your own show and being out there and being on social media, having the skits and creating new fans and bringing those new fans back to 108 and continue promoting that brand. And at the same time, you're killing two birds with one stone.
Right. That was one of the visions of the partners. They wanted me to have my own show because I used to have a radio show.
It makes sense.
On 103.9. But it does. But there's 24 hours in the day, Wes. You know what I mean?
I got you. You got to learn how to balance. I guess it goes back to balance. You got to learn how to
balance that. Yeah.
So are you saying it's something that's a possibility or something that you're probably working towards? It's just right now is not the time for it.
Correct.
Okay.
We got to get the legs under this before we start running. You know.
And that takes a good amount of patience, especially for someone who has a passion in comedy who wants to go full steam ahead. You know what? I have a platform now. Let's do it. So that actually takes, you know, good motor skills to really know, like, you know what? I got
discipline. You got to you got to have discipline in business, man. And you have to understand, like I was saying before, it's the business. It's about the business. It's not about me. You know what I mean? So once you understand that, you differentiate the two. It's not about me. It's about growing this brand 108 Soul. If this brand grows to where we need it to be, I don't have to do comedy anymore. Real talk, you know what I mean?
Right.
I can do comedy
This is
whenever I
another.
want to.
But
You know
comedy
what
is
I mean?
a passion of yours.
Right. It's a passion. I love performing. So I don't have to do this right now. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But to your point, Wes, yes, it would kill two birds with one stone, but you're going to be killing me too. Because now, you know, you're going to be killing me
You're killing three
slowly
birds.
but surely. You know what I mean? You
let's
get what I'm saying?
let's switch gears. All right, so let's switch a little bit. This is a two-part question I have here, and this is for anyone looking to start a business or maybe open up a radio station or go along the lines that you have gone. How did you, number one, how did you raise the funding to finally go ahead and get into this? Because obviously you have to, unless you have some type of rich uncle, you got to raise the funds or either, borrow the money from somewhere. And two, once you got it started, how did you start to build your customer base or your listener base?
So the funding, and this goes back to what Wes was saying. It's about, you got to have good credit. You have to have the credit in place in order for you to get the funding that you want. Whether it's personal or business, you still need some type of credit.
Right.
Because I don't have a rich uncle. You know what I mean? I had some savings. I had some savings put away. That helped as well. And then you also got to know, where can you cut corners or shave off, expenses that'll help you keep the lights on,
Right.
The fact that the pandemic hit when it did, it saved us $3,200 off of the overhead for rent. So now that goes back into the pot. Okay, now what can we do? Oh, we can use our money. Let's not use all of it. Let's use half of it for marketing. And that's what we did. We went out and we got a professional app built for the station. So it looks great. It looks just like any other app that you would download for any other radio station. We were able to get the analytics now that we can see how many people has downloaded the app. We can actually text people who actually have the app. All these things are in place for marketing, because once you create the brand, now you have to get it out to the masses. So how do you do that? You get people who have a brand of their own to become part of your brand. So we know that our on-air personalities, hey, if you want to be on air, part of the contract is you got to promote the station that you're on air.
Right.
You just can't show up, collect a check, and go home. No, we need your interaction with your quote unquote fans, your audience as well, because we need them to understand to find you, they need to come here. To find Jamie Roberts, they need to come to 108 Soul. They don't understand that, then, we're wasting our time here. And it's not that we need you to post it every day, but we need you to understand that 2 times a week minimum, your fans should know when to find you. It gets redundant, but you got to keep beating them over the head, because you got 15, 20,000 fans or likes on Instagram or whatever it is. We need a third of that just to come.
Right.
A small percentage of them just to even engage with us. The second part was, I'm sorry, I forgot the second part.
How do you build once you get established, you get the funding, you start up, how do you build your fan base? How do you build your customer base?
Well, and this is behind the curtain types talk.
All right.
You got to know.
You can give general answers. I mean, I'm really just, I'm looking for information for people, in your position or looking, entrepreneurs looking to start up.
Well, you got to know where to fish. You got to fish where the fishes are. So, these other markets have radio stations as well, right? Mm-hmm. But like me, I used to live in Atlanta. When I was living in Atlanta, I hated the radio station in Atlanta because it wasn't playing New York music. I was so used to New York hip hop. I was used to R&B. Even R&B is different in down south. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what you do is you find out those people who miss that type of music, and you market to them. We have a partner down in Atlanta. That's what they do for us. They find the transplants from the Northeast region, and they put our app, our information in front of these people. Hey, do you like old school hip hop? Do you like New York rap? Do you like New York R&B? This is the station for you. You might want to turn this on. We go right to our competitors. When they have an event, we are at the event.
Right.
With our street team, with the logo. Hey, what is this about? Oh, it's a new radio station? Yeah, it's a free world, fella. You ain't paid for this concrete. we're out here too. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
It's the same thing. You got to go because it's great to have a great invention or a great tool or a great service, but if someone doesn't know about it, how are you going to benefit? You know, how are they going to benefit?
Right. You got to be your own billboard, so to speak, you know?
Right. You absolutely have to be your own billboard, and you got to be your mouthpiece. And the people around you, my friend told me this a long time. You're never going to get rich off your friends and your family. Never.
You got that right.
You're never going to get
that's
rich
right.
off your friends and the family. You know, they may buy into it, but they're not going to support you as much as a stranger would off the street sometimes. And that's, you know, that's sad. But they know me as, oh, that's little Jamie. You know, he's a comedian. You know, you know, he does jokes every now and then.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I had the longest running show in New York City on a Sunday night. But you know what I mean? It's
right.
like,
this is what we call in our business the warm market and the cold market. And your warm market will be the people in your immediate circle, your family, friends. You know, and the cold market, like you said, are strangers and people you've never met before. So, and those are the people that buy into what you
cold calling. Right. It's basically
exactly.
cold calling. You know? So, you know, that is the you're always going to be selling though. You know, that's the key. You're always going to be selling. So once you're always selling, you always should be closing. You know, that ABC. You always be closing, brother.
This is true. Absolutely.
What's the big picture? I mean, not the big, the ultimate vision that you have for the radio station. Are you looking to compete and higher up as far as like the market of radio? You know, when you think about, you know, WPL, what is this? The BLS, High 97, Power 105. Like, are you looking to like
for sure
on that level?
Yeah.
We're
not here for
the giggles, you better be. That's all. Better be.
We're not here for the shits and giggles, brother. We're here to fight. You know what I mean? There's enough for everyone to eat, and that's what people don't understand. There's enough for everyone to eat, and the vision for the radio station is, you know, is 108 Soul in New York, but we also have affiliates that we're going to open up in Charlotte, in Atlanta, in Dallas. We had in Miami. So we have these places we have these pieces in place, but we have to execute New York first. Once New York gets off the ground, then we can go to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta to Charlotte, because it's a brand. You know what I mean? It's a brand. There's a hot whatever in every city. You know what I mean? There's a hot 109, a hot 107, you know, in every city.
Power this, a power that.
Right. So, you know, you have to understand that it's just not one market. Right. You have to figure out the plan. You have to figure out the formula. But we don't have the luxury of, you know, investors and the stocks. You know, we can't sell off the common stocks to raise money, to raise capital. We don't want to do that because really, you know, we can't value the company at a certain level until it's been in existence for so long. So we don't have that. We don't have that availability just to go and open up different markets right now. Right. So I would say maybe in a year or so. No, what are we in now? October, about to be November. Yeah, I would say about June, you would see another 108 Soul opening up in Atlanta or Charlotte. Really, Charlotte is the next one, and then we'll figure out how do we get that up and running so that's profitable, so it can stand on its own, and then we go to another city, and we go to another city, and that's how we build it out. You know, that's how you build your team.
Awesome.
So talk to me about that as far as like your personalities or the DJs. How do they go about getting on this platform? Because you know the COVID here, the pandemic is here. There's no overhead because you don't have an actual space. What type of equipment do you provide the equipment to these personalities in order to do that? They already have this with them.
It's a laptop, mic, and we give them access to the station via the internet.
That's it.
It's once I learned how to broadcast live from anywhere, basically anywhere. We said, what are we doing? What? Why aren't we? Why? Because we weren't going to launch the station until we had an actual studio, right? So we had to figure out, all right, how do we get this up and running without actually being in the studio? How do we do that? Right. All it is research. The best thing we have is our phone in our hand, man. The phone that you paid $1,000 for, that is your best tool to figure out how to do things. Meaning, you know, you ain't got to ask Siri, but you can Google, you could do anything. You can research anything through your phone. So I started researching and started figuring it out. And I found a couple platforms that looked good, but I had to make sure it was able to withstand what we're trying to do. We're not just running a someone's running a station out of their basement. No, that's not what we're doing. You know, someone just, hey, we got a radio station and they're playing every CD that they owned. No, that's not what we're doing. You know what I mean? It's an actual radio station. So we need a software that's in place that can handle this. We also need the ability for personalities to log in from anywhere remotely and to broadcast remotely live without it sounding like you're in a hallway. You know, we still need the quality of the station not to be disrupted, because it's the listener experience that we're trying to preserve. You know, if you turn on a station and it sounds like crap, guess what? Someone's going to say your station sounds like crap. And that's not the narrative you want out in the world. No, you know, you want them every time they turn it on, yo, that sounds great. Or maybe, you know, maybe a hiccup here and there. Oh, yeah, his mic was going in and out. That happens on regular radio as well. You know what I mean? Oh, the record skip. Well, then you know we're live. You know what I mean? You know, so, you know, these are the things that, you know, we had to put in place to make sure that we were equipped to do this. So, but we are going to get the studio. COVID is a blessing and a curse, because now we've negotiated to a point where, hey, if you want us there, we'll pay this amount.
Right.
Because now you got no one paying any amount. So you want us there, right? So we'll pay this. This is what we feel comfortable paying. And if we can't lock this in for 2 or 3 years, we're trying to get a 5-year lease. If we can't do that, then you know what? We'll just continue doing what we're doing, or we'll look elsewhere.
And this is a radio station that has the platform that has all the equipment already?
Excuse me?
This is like a radio station platform?
Yeah, it's already built out for us. It's already in place. You know, one of the guys who helped us put it in place, I don't want to mention his name, but, you know, one of the guys who helped us put it in place, he owns a radio station as well, very popular here in New York City. And, you know, he's been kind of like a guide for us in getting things established, right? Like a mentor and getting things. And that's important in business as well. You should have a mentor. You know, you shouldn't just walk in, blind. You can, but it's always best to, you know, try to watch from the sidelines for some time, and then, you know, pick up on things, pick their brains. And you want a mentor who's not, you know, conservative or greedy with the information or the knowledge, you know, who's willing to teach, who wants to show how it's done, who wants to see you win. Right. You know,
you'll feel a lot less that way.
Question for you. In radio, I know in owning a radio station, there's got to be a creativity factor, right? You don't want to sound like the next guy. Like you said, there's a power in every city, right? So you have to constantly be generating and thinking about new ways to be different and new ways to be creative. What motivates you to do that, and how do you generate these new ideas on a daily basis? You know, what keeps you motivated to really generate these new ideas and really distinguish yourself amongst all these other radio stations that are out there?
Well, what motivated me to do it, or us to do it, was we saw the need, because I used to work at a radio station, and the question I always ask myself is, why do we keep playing the same songs over and over and over again throughout the day? You know, why do we hear Drake 16 times a day? Why do we hear Lil Wayne? Why are we hearing these records all the time? And it, you know, it struck me after I got up higher in the food chain, you know, in the management level, that these stations are run by, you know, they're run by executives who need their records played at record labels. You know what I mean? They need to spins on the radio. But being an independent owner, we don't have any ties to those record labels. We don't have any alliances to them. In order for this to run, you need to do this. We don't have to jump through the hoops to get things done. We do it our own time. So, you know, what motivates me is the reaction of the fans, of the listeners, and the ability, the freedom of our DJs. Like the DJs that we have on, we allow them to play anything that's clean. And when it comes to R&B, anything that's new. When it comes to rap, nothing new. We don't allow you to play the new Lil Wayne unless it's a killer song. You know what I mean? We don't allow you to play the new Drake, because that's not who our listener base is catering to. But that freedom, in order for them, the DJs, to play what they want, allows them to enjoy their job even more. You know? So if someone's told you, yo, man, you have the free will to do what you want to do when you show up to work, and we're going to pay you to do this. You know? So have fun. That part right there, the have fun part,
absolutely,
has been taken out of work for so long that it's just been viewed as work. you're no longer having fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is
So
true.
you see how people go and they play basketball. Yeah, we put in the work to play ball. These are millionaires having fun in front of us.
That's it. Getting paid for it. Getting paid for it.
You know what I mean?
That's
My
a
grandmother used to tell me all the time. I used to watch the Knicks games. Why are you watching these millionaires work? And I never understood it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but they're having fun.
This is
They're
true.
having fun,
Yeah,
man.
amazing.
There you have to. That's I think that's probably key in doing what you do is if it's not fun to you anymore, then it's
You
just
don't want to
work.
do it. Yeah, you don't want to do it. Why
Yeah,
am I? You don't
absolutely.
want to get up. Yo, why am I doing this for, man?
Right.
Why? Oh, I got to do this. You know what I mean?
Come on.
And,
Yeah, no, that's
even
true.
when I host the comedy shows, right? When I host shows, you know, I always ask people for their credits. All right, MTV, Comedy Central, before they go up, say, yo, remember, have fun. That's the most important part. If you're having fun, the audience can see that you're having fun, and they're going to have fun. You know what I mean? They want to have a good time. They came out here to have a good time. No one comes to a comedy show to be shrewd, uptight. Some people, you know, but, you know, the majority of the people there, hold on, man. The hotline is ringing. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Hotline blinging.
Nah, anyway, we'll come back to that. So, you know, the majority of people show up to have a good time. So, you know, that's just like any job, man. You got to figure out how to have fun. If making money is what makes it fun to you, find out how to make more money, how to close more deals.
Right.
Come up with a contest. You know, the next 50 people to close and the next person to close $5,000 gets 1,000 of it. You get 20% of the next 5,000 you close. Boom.
Make
you
it
don't
fun.
think people on those calls? You don't think,
Absolutely.
and you pay them cash. It ain't gonna be in your next check. Cash. I go to the ATM. We gotta just go to the bank together. You know what I mean?
Get that money out.
So speaking of cash, all right,
Yeah.
talk to me about as far as paying royalties. I know you get to play the music and you have these hits that you're playing that people recognize and understand. But being that you're just starting out this radio station, how are you in position to pay royalties, or are you paying royalties at all?
Hell yeah, you gotta pay royalties. Shut you down. Yeah, you gotta pay royalties. We pay it to Sound Exchange. But the beauty of it, people think like you gotta pay this enormous amount of money to play music, right? You don't. It's all an algorithm that they just need to know how many listeners that you have listening at a specific time. You give them the list of songs that you play for the month, and it's a multiplication basically. All right, so you have 200,000 listeners times 0.000 whatever it is, and this is the amount you need to pay. So, but with Sound Exchange, what you do, you have to front them the money, and then they were like, all right, well, we're going to deduct, and then when it gets under a certain threshold, you got to re-up. It's a drug game, man. Then you got to re-up. You know what I mean? Oh, corporate America is the biggest drug dealer of all, man.
You
gotta understand that.
Of course it is.
You got workers out there for you. They come back. You give them a little something more for what they brought in. You know what I mean? That's drug dealers, man. That's
true.
all
like
day, man.
Like
it's mafia, man.
Mafia.
Yeah.
That's true.
So what advice would you give our audience, entrepreneurs in the making that's looking to, get in their own particular space as far as, business, ownership, and really staying focused and really be in positions to win?
Advice I would say, first do your research. Do your research on the industry that you want to be in. And that means, pick up a book. A lot of people just want to get the quick fix or a YouTube video. No, pick up a book, figure out someone who's done it before, because every idea is not original. Someone has done it before and they probably succeeded at it. Follow the blueprint, follow their footsteps. And also be passionate about it. You got to have passion behind it. If you're not passionate about your business, no one else will be. If you're just like, yeah, I'm doing this little thing, guess what? It's just going to be a little thing. You know what I mean? You got to talk about it. You got to live it. You got to experience it. That means going out to see what the competitors are doing, understanding the market that you're in. You're selling lawnmowers in Alaska. That ain't working. You know what I mean? What are you doing? You know what I mean? Well, that's not the market for it. Well, I don't know. They got lawns in Alaska, but you know what I mean? That's not where you want to be. Right. So, you have to understand where you want to position yourself. And if you don't know, ask questions.
Ask questions.
People used to get so scrutinized for asking questions that they stop asking questions. They think, oh, I'm not going to look stupid. You look even dumber when you don't ask the question and you try to do it yourself.
Try to do it yourself and you just fail. That's it. It's
just
done.
fail. You probably blew through some money. you know, your wife or your girlfriend's like, I told you so. I told you, because you know what? You didn't have the questions answered that you needed answered. You know.
So you talked about the passion. So let's talk about your why.
Why? Yo, man, I'm trying to leave a legacy, brother. I mean, like, I've worked
we don't
at a
try,
radio
we do.
station.
You're leaving a legacy.
Exactly. We're on the path of leaving a legacy, man. And I've worked in the radio business for 6 years, and I see how it's working, how the money is there, how it's made, and I see the owners. These owners are you know, you never want to be a worker, you want to be an owner, man. And you see how they've established their brands and in different markets, and it's not rocket science, you know. It's not, man. You just have to understand it. And I've been blessed to have mentors and leadership, but put in a position of leadership to learn even more. Because when you're elevated to a management position in companies, you're now exposed to a different level of information, you know. And so you could be there just say, oh yeah, I'm here now, yeah, I got an office. Or you can sit back and realize, yo, there's a lot going on that I never knew was going on behind this curtain. Let me take notes. Let me understand how things really move. Oh, this is the reason why they cut this and cut that back, because they're trying to save money to market this. So once you get that knowledge underneath your belt and you're always implementing that knowledge to move forward, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, you gotta move up. The only other way to move is to own.
There you go.
You have to. And my why, I got children and I got a family. That's why.
Exactly. And that leads me to my next question, because I was just about to ask you that. I know in radio and in what we do, it takes a lot of time out of our day, and we got to put in a bunch of hours, you know, and it starts to take its toll on our personal lives and our family lives. So number one, how many hours would you say you put in a day with your current career? And two, how has it affected your family life?
The hours don't stop for the day, right? Work doesn't stop. It does stop for family though. We do have dinner together. And we also make sure we have family night Friday night. So it's probably movie night or playing board games Friday night. And I carved out some time for my son because he likes basketball. So I take an hour out in the morning. We work out in the backyard. Hour in the afternoon, we work out. Now, we may be working out and I got a Bluetooth in my ear talking, but we're working out, you know, because it's important, you know, it's important. I have dull times with my daughter every now and then, but she, you know, now she's on this laptop. I forgot what it's called.
How old is your daughter? How old is she?
She's 9.
Okay.
But you know,
tablet, iPad, or something.
It's an iPad, but I forgot the name of the game that we play. Roblox.
Roblox.
Oh, yeah.
Not Roblox.
I have an account on Roblox. You know what I mean?
I was about to finish your sentence. Roblox, man.
Yeah.
You're about to get a Roblox tattoo in here, man.
Yeah, man. You gotta get those Robux, and then you know you gotta buy all this. So, what is this nonsense? You know what I mean?
Just the fact that you know that, and I know that you spend time with your daughter. I know that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's you know, it's good to be a part of their world. You know, not always them a part of yours. It's good to be a part of their world. What is important to them? You got to figure that out, because once you show interest in that, then it's more conversation, more you'll get to understand, you know, the kid's mindset a little bit more, and you can have a better influence rather than just telling them do this and do that. You know, they're like, all right, well, I understand why you want to do it this way because of this. But yeah, family first all the time, man. I would tell you that 110% family first.
110%. We believe in that too, man. And
you don't live to work. You work to live, and you got to carve out that time in your day to really spend time with your family, like real quality time. You know, like you know, phone goes off at 7 p.m. Let's spend a couple hours together. Let's have dinner. Let's talk. Let's really engage with each other. You know, I think that's crucial in entrepreneurship, because we can get lost in this. Really,
yeah.
No, if you give Wes and I an entire week or an entire month to really do what we do, we'll take that month. And that month will go by. It'll feel like a day. You know what I mean? You really have to, you know, carve some time out to get back to the basics, because entrepreneurship is nonstop, like you said. It's 24/7. So
I'm gonna give you something. When I was my previous marriage, I was doing comedy, and comedy came between me and that relationship.
Wow.
Because I was on the grind so much, I was out so much, and I was like, you don't understand. I got to be out in these clubs, you know. And all she wanted was a hug. And I was like,
All she wanted was a hug.
You know what I mean? I was like, yo, I got to go do this show, fam. I ain't got no time for hugs, man. You know? Anyway, things work out for a reason. And, you know, and I understood that that, you know, you got to have someone who's on the same mindset and understanding that they want to see you winning your dreams just as much as they want to see in their own dreams.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
you know, but yeah, you got to, like you're saying, you got to carve time out for family. And my wife, she's a comedian as well. So, you know, she gets it.
Awesome.
That's perfect.
She gets it. You know what I mean? She matches the hustle.
Who's the funniest one here? Who's
Come
funnier?
on, man. I can't say that on camera.
My wife.
I'm trying to go to sleep tonight.
You better say the right answer and say her. That's the right answer.
Yeah, she is.
Jamie, give us your top 2 quotes, the quotes that you live by, and you know, you look to the future and say, okay, these 2 quotes are gonna get me there.
The first one is what my mom always told me was, let people run their mouth, you run your business.
Nice.
You know, and
I like that. Your mom's a smart woman.
Yeah, man. I don't really have another quote, man. It's just that I always reference that one because people are always going to have something to say about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no matter if you're doing great, whether you're doing bad, you know, it doesn't make a difference, and you shouldn't, you know, rest your hat on that. You shouldn't really be that concerned with what people are saying about you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because there's going to be good reviews, there's going to be bad reviews. But if you're running your business, you know, like, you know, you're supposed to run your business, it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
all of that is going to go by the wayside.
Being coachable, because if you're running your business and you're allowing yourself to learn, you know, and really understand that, you know, there's other people that have been there before you.
Correct.
You know? So be coachable and understand that that's part of it. So yeah, for sure.
Right.
Are you reading any books right now? What books? What
Oh,
books do you recommend? What books?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I just did a podcast with my girl, L. Michelle Smith. It's called No Thanks. I just started the book, 7 Ways to Say No. I'll just include myself. L. Michelle Smith. I'll send you a copy. I'll take a picture and send it to you.
Yeah, send it. No Thanks is called, right?
It's called 7 Ways to Say No. I'll just include myself.
You read it already, or you started?
No, I literally just started reading it, man. And it's about inclusive. How do you get yourself into situations that you normally wouldn't? You know what I mean? How do you knock down those barriers that you wouldn't get into? How would you get those meetings you wouldn't normally get? You know what I mean?
Nice.
And it's entrepreneurship, right? It's No Thanks. 7 Ways to Say I'll just include myself. That's what it's called.
Nice.
You know, and
got anything else, Wes? I got a question. I want him to leave us with, and this is one I want to ask everyone. You know, as we're closing out the interview, 3 tips, 3 key factors, 3 skills that every entrepreneur should have off the top of your head. What do you think are 3 important skills? Whatever it is, you know, that an entrepreneur should have when they're first starting out, or, you know, continuing their career.
You have to have some type of business mind. You have to have to groom your relationships, and you have to maintain your credibility. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I don't know about y'all, but I try to support Black businesses, right? So I got caught out there a couple of times with buying shit online that never came in the mail. So now your credibility is shot. You know what I mean? Your business to me is a fake. You know what I mean? I tried to send stuff out to get shirts printed for the radio station. Took way too much longer. They blamed everything on COVID. Give me my shirts back. Got it done within a week and a half with another person. You know what I mean? So you got to have integrity. You have to have credibility.
Man.
And your business you have to have some type of business mind. If you can't run a business and you don't understand business.
Right.
You have to have it. Take a course. You know, they were giving courses out for free online.
Yeah.
Take a course.
You're in the radio game, and I think that a big mistake that artists get into is they want to get into music, but they just don't understand the business behind it. And
they don't understand the business. They don't understand the contract.
Right.
You know?
And you mentioned credibility and integrity, and that seems to be the common. We asked a few people already that question. The question I just asked you, and integrity it's probably the number one answer. Everyone says, man. You know, integrity, doing the right thing all the time, even when no one's looking.
Everyone, no one's looking, brother. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's a great answers, by the way.
Yeah, the part about doing the right thing is you're supposed to, right? You're supposed to do the right thing, but at the same time, you would hope someone's doing that for you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is true.
Because especially when you're starting a business and when you're running a business, the worst thing to do is to have someone steal from your business.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Someone that you trust, you put in a position of trust, and they're stealing from you. Whether it's pens from the office or a stapler from the office, whatever.
And it's
We're
not even
talking
about the money or the pens or anything. It's just like, really? Like, really?
Yeah,
You know?
really, man. You come on, man. We're supposed to be bigger. We're supposed to be brothers. You know what I mean? That's a New Jack City reference. I don't know if y'all know that.
I know,
but yeah.
So let's do this. You know, this is Entrepreneurs on Deck. You know, what's in the pitch deck. So if you can leave us with like almost like an executive summary, but not just basically you just talking about you know 108 soul, and just, if you had like investors in front of you, you had
you want me to do my elevator pitch?
Let's do it. Let's hear it right now. We never know. We never know where this is gonna end up. So let's get it.
108 Soul, right? It's a new R&B station here in New York City. We cater to 35 to 55-year-olds, whether it's Black, Asian, white, Hispanic. But we're in a position right now where we're catering to the small businesses that need our help, especially during this pandemic. So the small businesses that can't afford to advertise on television or traditional radio, which is on the dial, they turn to us. We've been able to gain quite a few advertisers since we've been in business since May, and they've seen results. So working with 108 Soul, not only will we super serve you, not only will your message get out there, but we are basically a partner in furthering your business agenda, furthering your sales, whether it's your message. We didn't do any political because we don't want to go there. But you know, what you have in plan, we take it, we examine it, and we try to figure out if our station is the correct fit for you. We're not just going to take your money just to take it. If it doesn't fit, we'll tell you, hey man, we don't believe that people are ordering, I don't know, Peugeots anymore. So we're not going to advertise that on our station because our audience drives Benzes or they drive Nissans, they drive Acuras. We don't know if that car is going to sell, you know? Right. But that's who we are, you know, and we're community driven. We give back. We're concerned about the community that we serve. So you'll see us out servicing 100 suits from my man Kevin Livingston. You'll see us donating money to, donating our services to the local church in Brooklyn. You'll see those things coming from our station. So we're not just a radio station, but we're personalities who really care about what we do.
Nice. So, beautiful. Well said. What'd you say?
I didn't hear you, Wes.
How much you looking for?
What you got? And how much percentage do you want?
We'll take it all. Jamie Roberts, man, thank you for joining us today, man. Comedian, businessman, owner of 108 Soul radio station, New York City, man. I appreciate you for being here. We wish you much success and continued success in your endeavors, man. And we hope to be there just on your platform, just like you blessed us to be on our platform. So thank you so much. Many blessings to you, man. And we hope to do business in the future, man.
No, actually, we
are doing it.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. It's already manifested.
Yeah, we already talked about it. But I got to talk, brother, man. We'll talk off camera.
Yeah,
right.
Thank you guys for this opportunity. It's a great platform, man. Congratulations on it. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Give it up for Mr. Jamie Roberts, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you, guys.